Hello everyone, my name is Griffin. I am the art director for Psychospectacle, working on the project Quill, and welcome back to another Ardomanian lesson. It's been a while, but let's get started back up again. Today we're going to be working on some conjugation, since last time we've basically just done, the basics of grammar, and the alphabet and the numbers and all that. So let's actually start pulling apart words and, opening things up so you can make sentences a little more easily. Before we start, though, I'd like to prefix I'd like to prefix this by thanking my good friend Ernest Soler for the music you're hearing right now in the back. It's really groovy, and I really love it, man. Like, it gives a real cool vibe to what we're doing here. So yeah, hope you enjoy the music. I'll put a link to he's got a website, and look in the description, go check out Ernest Soler. He's a really cool guy. And yeah, he's really cool, and I thank him for the music. Also, before we get started, I want to say that, this would be pretty mandatory. The background is not my texture. It was from a free texture pack, but because I'm respectful, I will put a link in the description so you can go grab that as well if you would like that. And also I have this brush is the thing that's the brush is mine. I love this brush. I worked so hard making it, and it's a pretty good calligraphy brush for Photoshop. Excuse me bragging about my own things though. But yeah, necessary links at the bottom. Let's get started. Today, as I said, we're going to be doing conjugation. And as we do conjugation, through this lesson, I believe you're gonna learn a lot of new words. You're gonna learn pretty much all the pronouns, and you're gonna learn the verbs to be and to have. I'm only gonna, for time's sake, I'm only going to be conjugating one, to be, and the reason for that is conjugating in Ardomanian is really easy. There's only one, because of the rules we established in punctuation in previous episodes, there's only one way to, or there's only one form of conjugation, and only one, I suppose, tense of conjugation, because there's no difference between the word I have and I had. Those words. It's all one same conjugation. The thing that changes the tense of things, as you learned in previous episodes, is the punctuation at the beginning of a sentence. So really that concept in the punctuation makes conjugating Ardomanian very easy. It makes, verbs in Ardomanian very simple. So yeah, let's get started. Today we're going to be, let me enlarge this a bit. There we go. That's lovely. Okay, today we're going to be learning the verb. Excuse me if you just heard my phone buzz. I'm going to put that on something soft so nobody hears that. We're going to be conjugating the verb tesani. Tesani. Excuse me, I think my IPA may or may not be wrong. I haven't done that in a while. But this is the verb to be, as in I am, he is, she is, all that good stuff. So, I'm going to run you through the conjugation chart. Give me a second to write it out. I'll just kind of, cut forward in time, and then we'll go over it. So here, give me just 1 sec to write that out, and I'll get right back. It'll be like nothing ever happened, really, because of the magic of video editing. Okay, so I've written everything out here. Or pretty much everything out. I'll explain that in a second, that's a little ambiguous. But yes, I've written everything out here. Let's get started running through this chart for tesani, the verb to be, which you have seen already. I believe I've used it in saying your name. So for example, Griffin some porte tesise. Tesi is the conjugated form of tesani. Thing about verbs, before we, go over this chart, all verbs in Ardomanian end in ani, and that's how you can tell it's a verb. There are words, however, that don't end in, or that do end in ani, that aren't, verbs, like Ardomani. That is just, That's actually an example of a possessive word, Ardoman, and then the I at the end, the E, makes it possessive. So Ardomani, that's like Ardomanian, like literally of Ardoman. But Ardomani is not a verb. Tesani is a verb because it has the ani ending. And pretty much any word you see, that isn't, a plural is going to have ani at the end because, like if you see E at the end of a word, it's going to be really easy to tell if it's plural or if it's not. Like in the case of Ardomani, that's just coincidence that it's the E at the end and it's plural. But if there's an E at the end of any word and it's not associated with, if there's not an an in front of that, it's probably just a plural word, not a verb. But anyway, simplifying things, all verbs in Ardomanian in the unconjugated form have ani as the suffix. So yeah, let's run through this chart. And as you can, if you've already read through that, you can pretty much garner the meanings of these words. But I'll start at the beginning here, just for, courtesy's sake. So we've got mol, and mol means I, me, myself. It's the I pronoun. And then you have pre, which it's singular you, and it's also like not very formal. But that doesn't matter, and I'll explain that when we get to formal plural you. It actually like shows itself in the conjugation too. So I'll get into that in a second. We have vo, which means she, or it's like a feminine it, and then vi, which is he or a masculine it. Non, which is we or it's we or us, and then lelen, which is the plural you, and that's, I'll get into that in a second when we get to the conjugation. Lelen is a bit weird in the fact that it's useless. But anyway, let's get to the conjugation of tesani. Now, with verbs in Ardomanian, all you do to conjugate them is you remove the ani at the end, and then you attach, the appropriate suffix, the appropriate pronoun suffix. Sometimes with a little, added like a vowel in there to make it not gross. For example, for mol, you have tesamol. And there's that sound in between, because if there wasn't that, it would just be tesmol, and that would be weird. So, that is added in there, so it's easier to say. But if you wanted to say I am, that is tesamol. For you, tesapre. For she is, or I guess a feminine it is, that would be tes. So there's nothing at the end, you just drop everything. Tes. And then that's different for he, or masculine it, tesi. And that is shown in, name, so me porle tesise. Tesi is feminine in that, masculine in that case, because porle is a masculine word. And in Ardomanian, masculine and feminine are a little, wishy-washy. It doesn't really matter that much in the long run. Like, if you switched out... if you're talking about a he or a she, and you're using those pronouns like that, yeah, if you mess it up, you're probably gonna get yelled at. But, if you're talking about a thing, and you mix vo and vi, people aren't really gonna care. But if you want to be grammatically correct, nouns a lot of nouns end in consonants, and this is why it doesn't matter that much. You just have to know off the top of your head. It's like I speak a little French, and a lot of French words are wishy-washy as to if you could, there's a very strict rule as to if it's feminine or not, but there's some are where it's in between, where you just have to know. Same with a lot of languages. Same with Ardomani. If the word ends in a consonant, you're not going to know if it's a masculine or feminine word unless you just knew it off the top of your head. But, if it ends in a vowel, if it ends in E or A, it is masculine. And if it ends in O or U, it's feminine. Again, if it ends in A, then you're screwed. Because it's just in between. Also, as I mentioned before, words that end in E are plural, so you're not going to see a lot of nouns that end in E. So it's words that end in A, pretty much, are masculine. E words are that's up there. It's either going to be it's either going to be masculine or it's going to be plural. So when it comes to gender, I mean, if you want to be grammatically correct, don't mess it up. But if you're like out walking around Ardoman, in the case that I suppose in the game, I say that as if like you'd get up and go walk around Ardoman. But you know, if you were happen to speak Ardomanian to someone, mixing vo and v are like doesn't really matter. But anyway, tesi, and then we have noen or non, which is, you know, the we, the us, and to conjugate that, it's tesan. So you just add that n sound at the end, tesan. And lelen, as I said before, is weird. The conjugation sounds, it doesn't follow rules like any of the other ones. The conjugation for lelen is tesaprer, and as you notice, there has no l anything in there. It doesn't really have a suffix that matches its pronoun, and that's because lelen is pretty much a dead word. If you use it, you are gonna look like a prude. Most people in Ardoman nowadays just use pre. Lelen is dead. They use pre just for you, kind of universally, except in conjugation. And the reason why there's no like lelen ending in conjugation, why it's prer, excuse my horrible failed rolled R's, is because it's just tesapre but plural. So it's literally just plural you. Or wait, excuse me. What did I say was plural earlier? I think I made two mistakes earlier. When I was talking about masculinity and femininity, I said words that end with e are gonna be plural. That's a lie. I said this at the beginning of the episode. Words that end in e are possessive. When I was talking about ani. Excuse my own mistakes. My brain is running at 100 miles a minute. But yes, words that end in the r sound are plural. Words that end... Okay, listen to me now. Words that end in e are possessive. Words that end in the r sound are plural. For example, tesapre and tesaprer. And also, another thing, you probably noticed that I rolled my r at the end of that. That's another thing. I guess I can get into this now really fast. I'm really trying to make these short, but it's so hard because I have so many things that come to my mind that I want to talk about. Where's my brush? There we go. We'll just explain this really fast. I need some space. Excuse me, I'm just gonna get rid of this. Dasani means to be, if you needed to know. As you saw here in the conjugation tesaprer, there's this swoosh around the R sound at the end, and that's because it's a breathed R, and the reason you see these breathed R's, and this happens with other consonants too, is that there is one R sound preceding a vowel sound before this R. That's what gives it that, that swoosh, that rolled R. And this also happens in cases where, like, I'm just gonna make up a word. Ler is not necessarily a word. So let's pretend these are two words. Kind of separate that in the middle there. If one word ends in, a consonant that can be breathed, and the next word begins in a consonant that can be breathed, that beginning consonant will be breathed. And the reason I have this is, and I said many an episode ago that there are no R flutters, that there are no sh's or ch's. I'm a dirty liar because I wanted to invent something after that. I came up with something completely new after that, so disregard what I said a million years ago. But anyway, yeah. There are these breathed sounds, and I have these to kind of, help pronunciation, and so words don't kind of slur into each other as well. It's so things keep separated, and so it's easier to hear. Like, you can tell when one word ends and another word begins with that flutter, because it's audible, you can hear it. And, I might as well say this while we're here, off topic of conjugation, I know, but we've got 3 consonants that do this, and this is really fast, so I'll just do it now. So you've got your R sound, you've got your S sound, and you've got your T. And these will all do the breathed consonant rule that I just told you about. So, and to notate this in writing, or I guess it's like to spell it almost, but you have that extra added swoosh. The R is a rolled R. The S is a sh, and then the T is actually a ch. And this is again to, show that, hey, a word's ending, another word's beginning, or you've got too many weird consonants next to each other. It's really just to help with pronunciation. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to conjugating. We ran through everything. You might have noticed that I left two things out, and I'll just, go on. I'm gonna go off of, the plural thing that I was telling you about with lelen and prech. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I'm working on it. I'm working on those rolled R's. But yeah, you may have noticed that I left out the plural its, or the plural she's, or the plural he's, and it's really easy to do. You just add the R sound. So vor and vir, and it's the same with the conjugation, except, tes, you have to have that added A sound, that ah, so that it doesn't sound gross. So it's not tested, like, I can't even do it. It's not a thing you can do. But, with vor, which is plural she, plural feminine it, your conjugation for tesani is going to be tesar. And, the same rule applies for vi and vir. So your conjugation for plural it masculine, plural he is did I write that right? Yeah, tesir. So anyway, that's pretty much all of it. I'll run through it all, just straight down the line before we, end it off, and I guess I tell you another verb. So we've got mol, tessamol, pre, tessapre, vo, tes, vi, tessi, non, tessan, lelen, tessaprer, vor, tessar, vir, tesir. And that's all to be. Now, before we go, I will teach you one more verb, and we're not going to conjugate it because it's the same rules. I mean, it's the exact same rules as with every single verb in Ardomanian. That's what makes, conjugating in Ardomanian so nice. It doesn't, you don't change via tense. It's all the same. You don't have to memorize all these different forms. So I guess I'll just write here. Tesani is to be. And we'll add, actually, I'll show you another verb, and you've seen this one already when we say our names, or not our names, when we say our age. So for example, Xiri nutros epagerso isviamolse. And by the way, it's not nuvri anymore, it's nutros, because I got older. But the example of the verb there is isviamol, or as you heard, the conjugated in the I form. So that would be, I'm pretty sure I explained this in that episode, but I'll just add it here because it's a verb we've seen before. Isviani, which is to see. And then the new verb I wanted to teach you was altani, which is to have. And I'll leave you guys off on that. I guess practice conjugating with these three verbs. I've honestly thought about doing worksheet stuff. That would be if you want that, let me know. This is a very important thing. If any of you guys watching this out there have anything that comes to mind, anything you want to learn, any kind of lesson, any kind of material that you would like, just drop me a comment, send me a message. You can send us an email at psychospectacle@gmail.com. Just drop us a line and let me know what you want, because I really enjoy doing these and I want to make it as great as I can for you guys. Because I think it's really cool that there are people out there who come by and are like, Griffin, teach me your weird language. And it's a fun time. It's a fun time. And I guess it'll come helpful when you play Quill, and you're walking around Ardomanian trying to, get along. So anyway, I'll leave you off there. Let me know if you have anything you want to see. Follow us on Twitter, on IndieDB. Where else can I say? On the TigSource forums. There you go. Follow us here on YouTube for more Ardomanian lessons, and possibly other languages in the future. And thank you very much for stopping by and wanting to learn Ardomanian. I will see you guys in the next one, where, what will we talk about? I have it written here, adjectives. We're going to do adjectives next, so that'll be a great time. I will see you guys then. Thank you very much, and I wish you a good one. Bye.